Hello and welcome to the low brass warm-up class. This is a chance for all low brass players, trombone, euphonium, baritone, tuba, and all of those sorts of low brass instruments alike so that we can all warm up together and get a good quality warm-up in to start off our practice day really great. This is going to include a number of different exercises, from breathing exercises to buzzing on the mouthpiece, and anywhere from lip slurs and scales and things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. I should probably remind you and have a disclaimer that I am not a trombone or low brass player. I'm just a music educator in the state of Oregon. I have experience playing low brass instruments through technique classes and things like that, and I played quite frequently over the course of my time teaching with my students and things like that. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on low brass technique and things like that. Don't think that this warm-up video is the end-all be-all. This is not the only things that you should be working on in your low brass warm-ups and things like that. As you become more advanced and get a higher skill level, you'll find different things that work better for you. So if some of this stuff works for you, keep it. If some of this doesn't work for you, find something else. Find something else that'll work just as well for you. These exercises are very good to get you started in your warm-up process. Feel free to add on to these and change the exercises that we do to fit your own individual needs and your own individual warm-up. Without further ado, we'll get started with some breathing exercises. We're going to go timed breathing. I have my metronome here, and we'll do some timed breathing using not only in for 4 and out for 4 times like that, but we'll change up the timing as we go along. So first is going to be in for 4, out for 4, and then we're going to go in for 2 and out for 6, and then in for 1 and out for 8. We're going to do each set 4 times to get really the best out of our technique. When we breathe in, I always like to have my hand right here in front of my face, saying an O position or an O-shaped vowel like this. Like that, making sure my mouth is open and my throat is open while I breathe. So when we do this, we should hear a low whooshing sound like this. Notice how my shoulders don't raise up very high at all because I'm breathing all the way down and filling up my lungs down here near my stomach. If we do breathe incorrectly and have our lips too close together, we get kind of a wisping sound like this, which is not what we want. That tightens off our throat and closes off our throat when we want our throat super open. So that's going to be when we breathe in. When we breathe out, our hand's going to be out in front of us, probably this far away. I don't know if you can tell how far away that is, but it's not really close to my face. It's probably about probably about 6 to 8 inches away from my face. So that'll be what we're going to do when we breathe out. And we want to make sure that our air strikes and pinpoints right to the center of our hand to kind of get our air moving and pinpointed so that we're efficient. Okay, here we go. My metronome's at 80 beats a minute. In for 4, out for 4. 1, 2, breathing in. Make sure you stay relaxed. Fill up completely when you breathe in. Exhale completely. In for 2, out for 6. Exhale your air completely. 5, 6. Moving on. In for 1, out for 8. One more time. And we're done. If you feel lightheaded or dizzy, please feel free to put your head in between your legs like this and keep it there for about 15 to 30 seconds. If you become dizzy or lightheaded, If you're standing up and doing these breathing exercises, again, make sure that you're bending your knees slightly when you're standing up. If you've become dizzy or lightheaded at all during that time that you're standing up, please sit down. Find a spot to sit down, either in a chair or on a couch or on the floor, because we don't really want you injuring yourself just because you got lightheaded. Most people get lightheaded when they do breathing exercises pretty extensively. Again, this is not the only breathing exercises that you can do. You can do a number of different breathing exercises. Just make sure that when you're breathing, you're taking a complete full breath in of air, and then when you breathe out, you're expelling all of your air out, just like we want to do when we're playing an instrument. Next, we're going to take and apply those breathing exercises to our mouthpiece. Okay? For this video, I'm just going to demonstrate on the trombone. Since I'm a music teacher here, my equipment is, I have a student horn and a student mouthpiece, so try not to criticize me too much on my equipment. Obviously, I don't have professional equipment, so I'm doing the best with what I have. So we're going to keep going. And so what I like to do with my mouthpiece is I like to buzz and do kind of pitch accuracy exercises. So I've got my app right here that's going to demonstrate with us some tones, and going to hold out a tone drone for us so that we can achieve certain exercises. We're going to start on B flat. And this could kind of change depending on how you feel every morning that you do a warm-up. You might feel like, oh gosh, I feel like I need to buzz a higher note naturally, or buzzing a lower note naturally. Whatever works for you and whatever you feel comfortable with. So we're going to try this and buzz with a drone. We're going to start on B flat. Sometimes you might start on F, middle F in the bass clef staff, or if you play a tuba, F right below this bass clef staff. So whatever works for you. Today we're just going to do B flat. I'll turn down the volume for you guys so that you're not blasted out too much. And what we're trying to do here is we're basically just trying to match the pitch as best as possible. Sometimes I like to hum, and other times I like to sing the pitch that I'm hearing. So whatever that might be for you, and either of those is helpful. Okay, here we go. B flat on top of the staff, or in the staff if you're a tuba player. Big breath in. We're just going to play and hold these out for about 4 or 5 seconds or so. There we go. Breathing in. Breathing in. We want a lot of air in our buzz. Breathing in. One more time, breathing in. Great. Now we're going to take it and go down a half step to concert A. Again, we want a lot of our air in our buzz. We don't ever want our lips super close together to where we get like kind of a nasally buzz. We don't need a lot of sound or a lot of pitch in the buzz. What we really need is a lot of air in the buzz, and a lot of that'll get us a lot of tone and resonance in the buzz, like this. Okay, we're moving down to concert A here. Again, we're going to do this about 4 times. Here we go. Breathing in on an O. Breathing in. Lots of air through your buzz. Try and match the pitch of the drone one more time. Good. Moving down a half step to concert A flat. Breathing in. Breathing in. steady airstream. One more time. Great. Moving down to concert G. Breathing in on O. One more time. Great. Two more notes. We're going to go down to concert F sharp. Breathing in, full. One more time. Great. Again, if you feel lightheaded or dizzy when you're doing these, feel free to stop for a moment and bend over and put your head in between your legs so that you regain consciousness, or regain the blood back to your head so that you're not passing out or anything like that. That is not a good thing. Okay, and finally for our last one, we're going to go at concert F. Again, we want a lot of air in our buzz. Breathing in on O. Try and hit a bullseye on the note every time you play. And one more time, big breath in. Good. After that, we always want to take a little bit of a rest. Every time we play on a brass instrument, we always want to rest as much as we play. If we play for about 20 to 30 seconds, we always want to rest for about that amount of time, just so that we kind of regain some blood into our lips and also regain our breath control as well. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do mouthpiece sirens. This can change depending on how you feel each morning that you do this warm-up. Sometimes our lips might feel a little bit more relaxed, so we might actually get a lower buzz naturally, like this. If that's totally fine if that works for you. Sometimes we get kind of a normal buzz in the middle of our register, like this. If that's you, that's totally fine. And other people might have a more natural, higher buzz for them every morning, or some mornings that they do this, and that's totally fine. That might sound like this. If that's you, that's totally fine too. Whatever buzz you naturally start on, and what feels most comfortable to you, use that for right now. I'm going to use kind of a middle of the register buzz, and I'm going to use my sirens for that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do each siren. We're going to do each siren twice, and then we're going to do 4 different times of each siren. So basically, we're going to do a little small siren at the beginning, starting and going up a little bit and going down below our pitch, and then back to finding the pitch. And we'll do that one more time. And then after that, we'll go on and we'll try and expand our siren upwards and downwards in either direction. And by the time we get finished with our 4th and final siren, we should be doing at least probably an octave, if not maybe an octave and a half. An octave and maybe a 4th or a 5th interval when we do these sirens. Okay, let's give it a try. This is kind of on our own. You can follow me if you want to, or you can go higher or lower, whichever works for you. Okay, let's try our first siren. Not too far away from our first initial note, just a little higher and a little lower. Breathing in on an O. Again, you want to make sure that you have good breath control and that you're going a little higher and a little lower from your main pitch. Let's try that one more time. Big breath in. Now let's try it a little bit higher and a little bit lower. We'll do this 1-2 times. Big breath in. Again, one more time. Again, what I like to try and do with these sirens is move my tongue on the inside of my mouth. I don't usually try and move the corners of my mouth too much because usually I get more efficiency out of keeping my corners firm and moving my tongue inside my mouth. Okay, let's do this one more time, just moving a little bit higher and a little bit lower each time. In order to go higher and lower, you might need to speed up the siren process so that you have enough air to do this. That's totally fine. Here we go. Breath in. One more time. Breath in. And now let's do it one more time, making sure that we're going a little bit farther up and a little bit farther down and reaching back to our stable, consistent note. One quick note, when I hold the mouthpiece, I usually hold the mouthpiece with 2 fingers and a thumb. Some of you might need to do 3 fingers and a thumb, depending on how old you are or how experienced you are with this type of thing. Usually I don't hold it more towards the top like this, because then I tend to push it into my face and get too much mouthpiece pressure. Okay, so that's just a little side note. Okay, here we go. One last time on the sirens. This one will be your biggest siren yet. Make sure you have plenty of breath control. Ready? Breathing in. Again, making sure that we have enough breath control and that our siren is steady and consistent the whole time. We don't want any gaps in our sound like this. Here we go. One more time. Breathing in. Okay, so that's some easy ways for us to start warming up on the mouthpiece. Again, there's a number of different exercises that you can do on the mouthpiece. You can do scales on the mouthpiece. You can do even your breathing exercises on the mouthpiece. But those are just a couple of simple different ways that we can utilize the mouthpiece before we get to the instrument. Now what you'll need is you'll need your mouthpiece and your trombone or euphonium or tuba with you so that you can play along with me. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do some long tone exercises utilizing our good breathing technique and also just playing long tones, making them consistent and as best with our best sound possible. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to rest for 4 beats and breathe in for 4 beats, and then we're going to play out a long tone for 8 beats, and I've got my metronome here for us again that will help us out. Basically what we want to do is we want to have a consistent, steady tone the whole entire time and try and make our best sound possible. So you can start on any note you want to. For right now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to start on F, concert F. So for trombone and euphonium, that's going to be 4th line F in the bass clef staff. And then for tuba, that's going to be F right below the bass clef staff. Not the one a few ledger lines below, but right under the bass clef staff. Okay, again, we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, and then we are going to play 8 counts of the long tone. After that, we will go down by half steps until we get down to low B flat. Here we go. My metronome's set at 80 beats a minute. Make sure you're sitting up tall with correct posture. Concert F, and starting breathing in, ready, breathe. Breathe in, same note. Moving down, E, breathing in, 1, 2, breathing in. Breathing in. Moving on to concert E flat, third position for trombone or first valve for tuba and euphonium. Breathing in. Breathing in. Steady tone. Now we're moving on to D, fourth position for trombone. 1 and 2 for euphonium and tuba. Breathing in. Breathing in. Moving on to concert D flat, fifth position for trombone. 2 and 3 for tuba euphonium. Breathing in. Moving on to C, sixth position for trombone. If you have a trigger, it would be trigger and first position. And for tuba euphonium, it would be 1 and 3, or if you have a fourth valve, use the fourth valve. Breathing in. Breathing in. Moving down to B natural. B natural is in seventh position for trombone. Unless you have a trigger, then it would be trigger 2. Trombone euphonium is either going to be all 3 valves, or if you have a fourth valve, it would be second and fourth valve. B natural. Breathing in. Steady air. Now down to B flat, first position or no fingers for trombone euphonium, and breathing. Lots of steady warm air. Okay, that's our long tones portion of this warm-up series. Again, you don't have to start on F. You can start on whatever notes you want to. You can even use a tuning drone to help you tune the notes as well as while you're playing them. For the sake of this video, we're going to move on to some lip slurs, and we're going to do lip slurs on either the trombone. If you have a euphonium or a tuba, feel free to use that as well. I'm going to show you a quick diagram of different notes. Again, this video is primarily geared towards around beginners and intermediate players so that they get a consistent warm-up. So I'm going to show you a quick diagram of all the possible notes on different slide positions and as well as valve combination positions. This diagram that I'm about to show you doesn't have a fourth valve included in it, so just you can look up in a fingering chart for what to use for those. I'll let you pause the video once I have this up, and so that you can take either a screenshot with either your computer or your iPhone or iPad or a phone that you have that you're watching this video on. Let me get this set up in the right spot for you. As you can see, there's a bunch of different notes, and again, these are not the only possible notes, but these are some of the common notes that you can play on different slide positions. Notice how at the bottom of the notes, I've got the slide positions marked for you, either as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, and then right below those slide positions, I have the valve combinations for you. So I'll let you take a quick screenshot of this, so feel free to pause your video and take a quick screenshot. Okay, so we're going to do lip slurs using these different types of combinations. So we're going to start on concert F. Again, F for trombone euphonium is going to be fourth line F. For tuba, it's going to be right below the staff. And what we're going to do is we're going to, in half notes, slur from F down to B flat and back to F. And on the last F, we're going to hold it for 4 counts. And then we're going to do that twice. And then we're going to move down a half step to the next available valve combination or slide position. And we'll do the same exact thing. We're going to slow down our metronome a little bit so that we can have enough time to stay steady on each note and make a good sound on each note. Here we go. My metronome's at 68 beats a minute, 2 half notes, and then a whole note at the end. 1, 2, 1, first position, no valve. Again, big breath of air. Moving on, second position for trombone, second valve for tuba euphonium. And breathing in. Again, 2. Moving on to third position or first valve for tuba euphonium. 1, 2. Keep your corners firm. Use the tongue to change the note. Sorry, I ran out of air there. Moving on. Fourth position for trombone. 1 and 2 for tuba euphonium. This is G, D down to G. 1, 2. Again. Moving on to fifth position on trombone, or 2 and 3 for tuba euphonium. This is going to be D flat to G flat. And 1, 2. Again, 2. Moving on to sixth position, or 1 and 3 for tuba euphonium or fourth valve. And this is C to F. 1, 2. Again, 2. Now moving on to seventh position, or 1, 2, 3 for tuba euphonium, or you can also use second valve and fourth valve. 1, 2. Big breath. Okay, that's one of our lip slur options. The next one we're going to do is work a little bit higher up. Again, these are only 2 examples of lip slurs. You can obviously do a bunch more. There's an infinite number of combinations of lip slurs that you can do. The next one that we're going to do is we're going to do, again, in half notes and then hold the last note for a whole note. We're going to go starting on B flat, fourth line B flat, or for trombone euphonium, or right under the staff, bass clef staff for tuba. We're going to start on F for a half note, go up to B flat for a half note, back to F for a half note, back up to B flat for a half note, and then hold F for 4 counts. So it's going to sound something like this. It's going to sound something like that, again, making sure that you're taking in enough air so that you can last the whole time. If you, in fact, are unable to last the whole time, feel free to just sneak a breath in there whenever you need to, making sure that you're taking a big breath in on the shape O. Here we go. We're going to go a little bit faster on our metronome so that we're able to last for the entire time. Okay, here we go, starting on F and then going to B flat. My metronome is at 74 beats a minute. Take a big breath, and 1, 2. Same thing again. Moving to second valve, or second position for trombone. 1, 2. Again, 2. Third valve, third position for trombone, first valve for tuba euphonium. 1, 2. Again, 2. Fourth position for trombone, or first and second valve for tuba euphonium. This is going to be D to G. 1, 2. Again, 2. Now we're moving to fifth position, or a 2 and 3 for trombone euphonium. 1, 2. Again, 2. Moving to sixth position, or 1 and 3 for tuba euphonium, or fourth valve. And 1, 2. Again, 2. And finally, seventh position, or all 3 valves down for tuba euphonium, or second and fourth valve if you have a fourth valve. 1, 2. Again, 2. All right, great job. Again, if you'll know, I am not a professional trombone player, so I am doing my best here. This is just a chance for you to play with me. if I make mistakes, I'll just keep going. So I would expect you guys to do the same at home when you're practicing. Okay, next. The next part of our warm-up session would be some articulation, which we will incorporate with our scales. So scales and articulation is super important for the overall benefit of a low brass player. And so we're going to incorporate those at the same time. You could do articulations on the lip slurs as well. It's just completely up to you. You can totally make that a part of your warm-up as well. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a few scales for you to look at. So again, feel free to pause this video to look at some of the scales that we're going to be doing so you can follow along. Again, these are not the only scales possible. There are plenty of other scales. There are 12 total major scales starting on each note of the trombone, euphonium, or tuba. And then if you're an advanced player, then there's all different types of minor scales. There's 3 different types of minor scales. So that would be another challenge for you to try out in your home practice and when you're practicing either with a friend or at home. You can all find all those resources online. You can just type in trombone scale sheet and you'll come up with something, or whatever instrument that you're playing. Okay, but for today, I will show you these 4 scales that we'll be playing today. Feel free to, again, pause the video if you need to. Okay, and so like for these scales, you are more than welcome to do these in a number of different octaves. If you're more of an advanced player, feel free to do these in 2-octave scales if you can. Or 3-octave scales if you're really advanced, or if you're a really advanced tuba player, you can even do some of these for 4 octaves if you've been practicing for quite some time. For right now, we'll just do 1 octave. Each of our notes are going to be a half note in length, and then we'll add some articulation to it. I'm going to speed up our metronome slightly back to 80 beats a minute. Again, focus on consistency of airstream and good quality tone. If you ever need to take a breath, feel free to do so and then just jump back in with us. We're going to start actually with our B-flat scale, which is one of the more common scales. Most everybody should know how to play their B-flat scale. In case you don't, the notes are B-flat, C, D, E-flat, F, G, A, and then B-flat, and then we'll work our way back down. We are not going to repeat the top note. Here we go, our B-flat scale in half notes first. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Now we're going to do a simple articulation with this. We're going to play 2 eighth notes and 1/4 note per note. So it's going to sound something like this to start off. And something like that. Okay, let's give it a try. Same notes, just different rhythm and different articulation. Make sure that when we're using our tongue to articulate that we're saying the syllable toe or maybe ta. Some people say da as well. So whatever your teacher teaches you, feel free to use one of those syllables. Here we go. Eighth note quarter. 1, 2. Great, awesome. Our next scale that we are going to do is going to be actually our A-flat scale. A-flat scale is just 1 note lower than B-flat. A-flat scale, if you remember on the diagram that I showed you and the notes that I showed you, A-flat scale is going to start on A-flat, which is 3rd position for trombone, or 1st valve for tuba euphonium. And we're going to do the low octave of the scale. If you're advanced, feel free to do the higher octave as well. That is totally fine. We're going to do the lower octave. Okay? Don't forget, when you get to D flat for trombone is going to be in 5th position. Make sure you really use your ears to make sure that you're in a correct 5th position. For tuba euphonium, that's going to be 2nd and 3rd valve for you guys for D flat. Here are the notes really quickly for our scale. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, and back to A flat. Okay, we're going to first do half notes and then we'll do our articulation pattern. Here we go. Starting on A flat, here's our metronome starting. 1, 2, ready. Now we're going to do our articulation pattern. 2 eighth notes plus a quarter note. 1, 2. Great, now we're going to move on to our next scale. Alright, our next scale is the F scale. For this one, I'm going to play the lower octave of the F scale. So I'm going to start on low F for trombone, which is going to be in 6th position. If you have a trigger for your trombone, then it would just be trigger if you wanted to do it that way. For tuba and euphonium, if you have a 4th valve, it would just be 4th valve for the low F. But if you don't, it would just be 1st and 3rd. For those intermediate players that are looking to expand their range and also those advanced players that want to, feel free to take this scale up an octave. So start on the 4th line F and go up to F above the staff if you play trombone or euphonium. For tuba players, start F right under the bass clef staff and go to F in the middle of the staff on the 4th line. That'll be a good range builder for you if you haven't gotten up there yet. Okay, just a couple notes that I want to have you pay attention to. Again, low F is going to be in 6th position or 1 and 3, like I told I said earlier. Low G for the trombone is going to be 4th position, and it's also going to be 1 and 2 on the tuba or the euphonium. One other note that you want to be careful of is the E natural. In this scale, there's going to be an E natural instead of an E flat. So for trombones, E's are going to be 2nd position rather than 3rd position. And for tuba euphoniums, you're going to have a 2nd valve for E instead of 1st valve for E, like an E flat. So you're going to make sure that you want 2nd valve when you get to E. Okay? Let's give it a try. We're going to do this twice. We're going to do this once with half notes to our metronome and then once with the articulation pattern. Here we go. 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to do our articulation pattern. Remember, it's 2 eighth notes plus a quarter note for each note. 1, 2. Great. Now we're going to move on to our final scale of this segment of the scales portion of the warm-up session. And we are now at the last scale of our 4 scales that we've done so far for this part of the warm-up session. Our last scale is going to be C scale. C scale has all natural notes for trombone, euphonium, and tuba. Most people are familiar with E flats and B flats in most of our band music, but that is not the case for this scale. So the scale notes are as follows. They start off with C, and then it's D, E natural, which is going to be second position or second button for trombone, euphonium and tuba. Then we go to F, G, A, B natural instead of B flat. B natural for the trombone, for the one that we're doing, is going to be in fourth position. Okay, and then for euphonium and tuba, it's going to be first two valves. And then for C, up top, it's going to be third position for trombone. And then it's also going to be first valve for euphonium or tuba. Again, if you want to do this in different octaves, you're more than welcome to. We're going to start off with second space C for the trombone and the euphonium, and 2 ledger lines below the staff for the tuba on that C. Okay, we're going to do half notes, and then we're going to do our articulation pattern again. Here we go. Steady air the whole time. 1, 2. Now we're going to do our articulation patterns. 1, 2. Great. That concludes our scale segment of the warm-up session. Again, you do not have to only stick to these 4 scales. I highly recommend to you to search on the internet for a scale sheet for either the trombone, the euphonium, or the tuba. There's plenty of great resources out there. Speaking of resources, if you're interested in learning more about the trombone, the euphonium, or the tuba, feel free to go check out the Timber Ridge Music website. It's got a whole bunch of great resources on there for you. I'll leave a link in the description below. All you have to do once you reach the site is just click on the resources tab and then go find tuba or euphonium or trombone, and you'll find great resources there. Not only scale sheets, but also different cool videos that you can kind of check out, and for players, professional players of your instrument that you can emulate and always try and be like all the time. Other resources that I've used, this entire video I've used my TE tuner. It's basically an app that has not only a tuner, but also the sound drone like we used for the mouthpiece buzzing, and also has a metronome. So it kind of looks like this once you get into the actual app itself. The tuner, it just kind of looks something like that. It's kind of a blank screen, but once you actually play stuff, it'll show you whether it's in tune or not. The app, when you're looking through the App Store or the Google Play Store, is going to look something like this. Let me see if my, there we go. So it's going to look like that. It's kind of like almost like a couple circles with different colors to it. Okay, so that's the TE Tuner. Another app that I really like, that I really think is going to be great for beginners and even intermediate students to keep playing and read sheet music and working on their fundamental skills, is called PlayTunes. It's over here, down below here. Let me see if you can see it. It kind of looks like a fancy eighth note down there, and once you click that, it'll open up to this screen here for you. It'll say welcome, and then all you have to do is hit play, and then it'll come up to different levels and different days. Let's see if I can move this to where you can actually see it. So you have different levels on the left hand side, and then days on the right hand side, and you can change up the level and you can change up which day you're playing. And it's basically a good tool for beginners and intermediate students to keep playing and find different stuff to play, as well as more advanced students to just practice some sight reading skills for you too as well. One final app that I really enjoy is called Bandmate Chromatic Tuner. It basically looks like this. It's like a quarter note. Let me see if I can get it for you guys. There we go. That's better. It's a quarter note basically with on a staff, and it's bandmate, almost like classmate, but with band at the beginning. Then when you open it up, it comes to this screen here. And so basically it's a tuner for you, and it shows actually what notes you're playing. So you can choose the instrument up here. So I'll go here and I'll actually choose, let's go with, why don't we go with tuba? And it'll basically show you the tuba notes that we play if you played the tuba notes. I'm trying to get it working for you guys. Okay, it actually shows what notes you're playing. And over here you actually have to switch to flat and sharp notes. So if you play a lot of sharp notes, you're going to have to switch to the sharp side and then back to flat notes for the flat side. So again, I really like that app as well. It's super helpful. And if you have other apps that you really enjoy, feel free to leave me a comment in the comments section below so we can all work together and find out what apps are cool to use for music benefit, warm-ups, practicing, and things like that. Okay, this concludes our warm-up session for the low brass instruments. If you like this video, give it a like button. And if you would like to subscribe to my channel, feel free. There's a bunch of resources on that channel for not only warm-ups for different instruments, but also maintenance things about how to clean your brass instrument. You might want to check that out. And we'll see you guys on the next one. If you have any questions or comments, or I missed explaining something at all, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, stay well, everyone, and happy practicing.